Chosen one, you might not even realize it, but you carry an energy that alters the atmosphere the moment you step into a room. It's not arrogance, there's something about the way you move, the way you listen, and the way your silence weighs heavier than most people's speeches. Have you ever noticed how conversations pause when you enter, or how people suddenly become self-conscious around you? That's not coincidence, that's frequency. Scientific studies in quantum physics confirm that human beings emit electromagnetic fields, and those with a higher vibrational frequency, often rooted in love, integrity, and spiritual alignment, can literally shift environments. You're not just a person, you're a walking signal tower for divine purpose. When you speak, people don't just hear your words, they feel something crack open inside them. That's what happened to the woman in the story. She wasn't just smart, she was aligned. She didn't need a title or spotlight to radiate authority. Her soul spoke louder than her resume ever could. And when she opened her mouth, the truth dropped like thunder. That's the mark of the chosen. Your knowing isn't learned, it's revealed. While the world obsesses over logic and proof, you walk with divine intuition. It's unsettling to many because they can't predict you, control you, or box you in. You don't move based on trends or opinions. You move when God says move. That's why the same people who once dismissed you now watch you in silent confusion, wondering how you got so far so fast without doing it their way. It's not luck, it's grace. Your discernment cuts through noise like a blade of light. You pick up on vibes, lies, and hidden motives before a single word is spoken. And here's the wild part. Your presence alone convicts people. Not because you judge them, but because your very existence reminds them of what they're not doing, what they've ignored, and who they could have been. That's why some are drawn to you while others can't stand to be near you. And both reactions are rooted in truth. Chosen ones, your soul has memory. You came here with assignments, and heaven didn't send you empty-handed. Every gift you have was placed inside you for a time such as this. People sense it, even if they can't explain it. And whether you're in the boardroom, the break room, or simply walking down the street, you shake foundations. You were never meant to blend in. That's why conformity feels like suffocation to you. You were born to stand out, not for applause, but for purpose. So if you've been wondering why people act weird around you, now you know. It's not them being rude, it's their spirit recognizing yours. Stay with me, because next we're unlocking 7 spiritual reasons why your very existence is making waves in unseen realms, and why God is positioning you to lead from the shadows. Let's go. Point 1, your spirit is loud even when you're silent. You don't have to say a word to shift the entire atmosphere. You don't have to make an announcement, throw shade, or demand attention. As a chosen one, your mere existence is a spiritual frequency that cannot be ignored. It's not about what you wear or how loud you are. It's about your energy. Your aura walks into a room before your body does, and that aura, that's a divine alarm clock. It rattles spirits, disrupts false peace, and forces hidden things into the light. People feel it even if they don't understand it. Something about you makes them pause. Something about your presence makes the masks slip. There's something wild about the way you can walk into a space, trying to be low-key, head down, just minding your business, and suddenly the air shifts. Conversations get awkward, eyes follow you. Some people smile nervously, others frown like they've just bitten into something sour. Why? Because even when you're silent, your energy is loud. And that energy, it's not regular, it's not coming from this world, it's celestial. In spiritual terms, this is called vibrational dissonance, when your high frequency naturally disturbs low frequencies. Think about it. If someone's used to swimming in muddy water, the moment you show up with clear, clean energy, it exposes how dirty their environment really is. Your presence becomes a mirror, and most people aren't ready to face themselves. They've spent years building up illusions, convincing themselves and others that their noise is normal. Then you show up, quiet, grounded, glowing from within, and it shatters the illusion. You didn't even say a word, but your truth was screaming. This is why people stare. This is why they gossip. This is why they try to figure you out, copy your flow, or even provoke you. It's not because you did anything wrong. It's because your energy reminds them of what they're not. And that's uncomfortable. You, chosen one, are walking confirmation that there's a higher way to live, a more honest way to be. You're a reminder that alignment, grace, and wisdom are still real. And to those stuck in performance mode, that's terrifying. Science backs this up too. Studies in quantum physics suggest that everything is energy. Human beings emit frequencies based on their emotions, thoughts, and consciousness. Higher frequencies like love, peace, and integrity resonate differently in the environment. They literally change the space. That's why, when you walk in with your vibration aligned, people feel it physically. The nervous system of those around you can either sync with your peace or reject it entirely. And that's when the fidgeting starts, the eye rolling, the whispering. They don't know how to react because they've never encountered someone who just is without trying to be. And here's the sacred truth. Your silence exposes others' noise. Your peace makes their chaos echo louder. Your stillness feels like thunder in a world addicted to distraction. People watch you because they sense something ancient in you, something wise, something holy. You carry a divine knowing that can't be Googled, bought, or performed. It's soul deep, and it's not arrogance, it's anointing. So don't shrink. Don't doubt it. When the stares come, when the energy gets weird, when people start acting out of pocket around you, just remember, it's not you that's unsettling the room, it's the truth in you. You're a living vibration of purpose, a carrier of divine codes. The world will keep trying to figure you out, but they'll never be able to decode what was written on you by God. So walk in rooms boldly, even when you're quiet. Let your silence speak, let your energy lead, and remember, the ones who are rattled, they were never ready for someone as real as you. Point 2, you see what they pretend isn't there. Chosen ones, let's talk about that sacred knowing you carry, the one that makes people fidget in your presence even when you haven't said a word. You're not walking around reading palms or flipping tarot cards in your pocket, though some of you all might. But you do read something deeper, energy. You pick up on unspoken pain, masked intentions, and silent cries for help before a single syllable leaves someone's lips. And no, this isn't something you bought off a shelf. It's spiritual sensitivity, fine-tuned through real fire. You see, chosen ones aren't special because of ego. You're chosen because you endured. While others were out seeking validation, you were in isolation, being purified. And while the world thought you were down and out, God was busy rewiring your entire nervous system to tune into divine frequency. That's why now you can walk into a room and feel the emotional temperature like a thermostat. You sense envy before the smile. You detect manipulation hidden behind compliments. You hear cries behind the loudest laughter. And that's what shakes people. They've never met someone who can hear what isn't said and see what's not shown. Psychologically speaking, this is known as empathic accuracy, the ability to accurately infer the thoughts and feelings of others. But for you, it's more than psychology. It's spiritual intelligence. It's what the Bible calls discernment. The gift to divide truth from deception, light from darkness. And trust me, not everyone has it. Most people are still fooled by appearances, sweet talk, or status. But you see through things, not because you're suspicious, but because you're sensitive to spirit, to energy, to truth. And let's be honest, that freaks people out. Why? Because you don't react the way others do. You don't get distracted by noise. You don't fall for flattery. You don't need proof. They feel seen by you, and it terrifies them. Not because you exposed them publicly, but because you saw what they were trying to hide. Some of you have had friends turn cold without warning. Co-workers act shady for no reason, or family members avoid eye contact like you're reading their mail. It's not paranoia, it's confirmation. Your presence makes people confront the parts of themselves they're still hiding. And let's go deeper. They know you know. Have you ever noticed how someone starts oversharing or nervously joking around you? That's their subconscious trying to cover up. You're not judging, they can feel that. But it's their shame reacting to your clarity. You're not psychic. You're aligned. You've been through so much that God gave you the grace to detect what doesn't belong around you. You didn't ask for this gift, but it came with your calling. Chosen ones aren't sent to blend in, they're sent to interrupt. Your energy exposes hidden agendas. Your peace reveals internal chaos. Your truth makes lies scatter like roaches under light. And that's why the gossip starts. That's why people say, you think you know everything, when all you did was say nothing. You simply existed in clarity. and it disturbed their shadows. So don't shrink. Don't second guess what you feel. God trusted you with discernment because you proved you could handle the truth. Keep walking with that quiet confidence. Keep trusting your intuition. It's not just instinct, it's divine strategy. You're not crazy. You're not too deep. You're called. And the ones who are shook, they're not mad at you. They're mad they can't hide from the light anymore. Chosen one, you don't just walk in truth, you embody it. And when truth shows up, darkness doesn't argue, it panics. Stay woke, stay grounded, stay chosen. Point 3, you've mastered the art of disappearing and elevating. You pull back, you disappear. They assume you're done, that you've tapped out, that maybe life finally got the best of you. But little do they know, you're just in your transformation chamber. You're not retreating in defeat, you're retreating in design, and then boom, you rise higher. No warning, no announcement, no trumpet, just pure silent elevation. And the ones who counted you out, they can't even find the words for it because what you do isn't ordinary. It's mystical, it's sacred, it's chosen one coded. See, while the world glorifies hustle culture and public milestones, you've mastered something far more divine, quiet elevation. It's a spiritual principle that few can comprehend. The caterpillar doesn't ask for attention while in the cocoon. It doesn't send newsletters from the chrysalis, it just disappears. And when it returns, it does so with wings. That's you. The chosen ones rise silently, and it's exactly that silence that makes the return so disruptive to the noise. You're not interested in external validation. You don't need cameras rolling while you heal. You don't need applause while you align. While others chase clout, followers, and short-term gratification, you're chasing something eternal. Light, divine direction, an inner compass that doesn't waver based on who's watching. That's the blueprint the world doesn't understand. Because we live in a time where visibility is falsely equated with value. If you're not posting it, are you even doing it? If you're not tweeting about your glow up, is it even real? But you, chosen one, you know better. And here's the spiritual technology behind your process. When you pull back, you're actually entering a sacred recalibration. In ancient wisdom traditions, retreating into solitude was seen as a rite of power. Prophets went into the wilderness. Shamans sat in silence. Mystics fasted in caves. Why? Because divine downloads require isolation. You're not ghosting the world, you're ghosting the noise to hear God. And when you re-emerge, you don't come back the same. You come back upgraded, mind sharper, energy cleaner, vision wider. But this rattles the people watching you because their minds are trained on the material. They're trying to see how you did it. What new strategy? What new job? What new connection? They dissect your movements like a lab experiment, hoping to replicate your glow. But here's the twist. They're looking for something external when your transformation came from something internal. That's why they're frustrated. That's why they whisper. Because you've done what they can't Google. You've mastered something that can't be mimicked. Alignment. You've tapped into a realm where being unseen doesn't mean being insignificant. In fact, your power builds in the unseen. The real elevation happens when no one's clapping, when no one's looking, when no one's even thinking about you. That's where the roots grow deep. That's where the true preparation happens. So when you bloom, it's not for show, it's for service. You don't rise for praise. You rise for purpose. And make no mistake, your return will be noticed because elevation leaves evidence. It's in your posture, your peace, your presence. People who once doubted you will suddenly want to understand you, but they won't be able to decode your growth using worldly tools, because what happened to you was spiritual, and spiritual things are spiritually discerned. You weren't just improving, you were anointed. So keep pulling back when your spirit says so. Keep going, Ghost, when the noise gets loud, because you don't need a stage to be powerful. You don't need the spotlight to shine. Your glow isn't for show, it's for impact. And remember, chosen one, you were never hiding. You were being hidden by divine design. So you could emerge not just higher, but holier. Point 4, you refuse to conform, and that bothers them. You don't follow trends. You don't compromise your soul. You don't water yourself down to be more digestible for the world. And that, chosen one, is exactly why you're a threat. You are truth wrapped in human form, walking among a world built on illusion. You stand out not because you're loud, flashy, or trying to prove anything, but because your being itself disrupts the program. When others bend to fit into boxes, you simply don't. Not out of rebellion, but because your soul came here encoded with something ancient, sacred, and uncontainable. See, Society runs on predictability. It thrives on categories: race, gender, status, religion, education, and popularity. It wants to scan you like a QR code and say, oh, you're this, you belong there. But when they try to label you, the system breaks. They toss terms at you. Too intense, weird, quiet, too much, mysterious, hoping one will stick. But none of them do. Because you, chosen one, are spiritually uncategorized. You're not a type, you're a frequency. And the moment you said, nah, I'm not doing what everyone else is doing, the matrix blinked. It realized you weren't just non-conforming, you were divinely designed. Here's the kicker: most people are conditioned from birth to follow trends, to follow instructions, to follow what their parents did, what their friends are doing, and what the influencers said is in. This isn't random, it's brain science. The human brain is wired to mirror behaviors. It's called the mirror neuron system, and it's why trends go viral. But when you resist that pull, when you don't jump on the bandwagon, when you move differently, it short-circuits the herd mind. You remind people they could be free, but they're choosing not to be, and that triggers them. They'll pretend not to see you, but they feel you. You're the unspoken in the room. Your presence exposes their pretenses. Your authenticity highlights their performance. They'll gossip about you not because you're flawed, but because you're flawlessly unbothered. Your refusal to play the game is interpreted as arrogance, when in reality, it's just spiritual clarity. Remember this: people who need the world's approval will never understand someone who walks in purpose. You didn't take the safe path, you walked through fire, you let things die, you said no when it was unpopular. You disconnected to reconnect with the divine. And now, you carry an energy that can't be mimicked or mass-produced. That's why they want to figure you out, but you're not a puzzle, you're a prophecy. Chosen ones aren't born to fit in, they're born to realign the world. You're not here to entertain the crowd. You're here to raise the vibration. That's why you feel different. That's why nothing normal ever sat right in your spirit. You weren't built for normal. You were crafted for truth. And truth doesn't beg to be liked, it simply is. So when the world pushes you to explain yourself, to shrink, to bend, don't. Let them misunderstand you, let them gossip, let them project, because their confusion is confirmation, their resistance is your receipt. You don't need a trend to tell you you're powerful. You don't need their blueprint. You are the blueprint. And the best part, you didn't change to make noise. You refused to change, and your silence became thunder. Point 5, your comeback game is heavenly. Chosen ones, let's talk about something real. You've been through hell. Not the poetic kind, but the kind where betrayal came dressed as loyalty, where people you loved stabbed you quietly and smiled while you bled. You faced setups disguised as opportunities, had doors slammed in your face, and watched the very people you helped turn around and mock you when you stumbled. But here's what makes you dangerous now. You survived it. And not just barely. You came back wiser, stronger, and better. That's divine math. That's God's work. See, many watched you fall. Some didn't just watch. They clapped. They whispered, I knew they'd mess up. Or see, they were never that special. They mistook your setback as the end of your story. But the thing about being chosen is, your story doesn't obey the rules of this world. You don't move on human timelines. You don't operate within man-made limits. You move by favor. And favor is the wild card that makes people uncomfortable, because favor can't be bought, copied, or faked. It comes from above. It's divine interference in the middle of your chaos. God will rewrite your chapter right when they thought they had the ending figured out. Scientifically speaking, the human brain is wired to make sense of patterns. People love seeing predictable trajectories. When someone fails, society expects them to stay down. It's how the mind protects its own ego, by boxing others into reasonable outcomes. But when someone like you, a chosen one, rises after being buried, you disrupt their programming. Your existence becomes a glitch in the matrix. You don't rise by logic, you rise by grace. Psychologists refer to this as cognitive dissonance. That's the discomfort people feel when reality shatters what they believe to be true. They thought you were done and counted out, disqualified, but when you bounced back with more peace, more power, and more purpose, they had to sit with a bitter truth. You were never what they said you were, and they were never truly for you. Here's what makes it even more glorious. God didn't lift you in secret. He let them watch. He let them see the same person they laughed at, now glowing, growing, and glowing up, not because you fought dirty or retaliated, no. You let the fire refine you instead of destroy you. You didn't go crazy and you didn't lose yourself. You waited. And that's what terrifies them, that even after all the hell you endured, you never folded, you rose. And not just once, every time. The deeper truth, you were never meant to be liked by everyone. Chosen ones carry a frequency not everyone can handle. You mirror people's shadows. Your strength reminds them of where they've been weak. Your resilience exposes their excuses. That's why the gossip gets louder when you enter the room. It's not personal, it's spiritual. When truth walks in, lies start scrambling for cover. And when God starts elevating you, don't be surprised if the people who once supported you start looking real quiet. Some even shift into silent enemies, but let them. Because when God lifts you, no man can unlift you. Understand this. You didn't come this far by accident. You are chosen not because you were perfect, but because you were willing. Willing to grow, to let go, to walk alone when it got dark. That kind of obedience unlocks supernatural favor. That's why the bounce back looks confusing. They don't know the oil you carry. They don't know the nights you cried, the prayers you whispered, or the moments you almost gave up. But God knew, and He answered not by changing your enemies, but by changing you. So keep walking in your light, chosen one. Keep becoming. Let them wonder. Let them whisper. Because while they're stuck in yesterday's version of you, God is writing your next chapter in bold. And this time, it won't just shock them, it will humble them. Point 6, you're a mirror that makes people uncomfortable. Chosen one, let's get something straight. Your presence alone is disruptive, not because you're loud, arrogant, or in anyone's face, but because your very existence reflects what others have spent years trying to avoid. Your life, your habits, your resilience, and your energy, they hold up a mirror to everyone around you. And here's the thing about mirrors, they don't lie. You're not just living, you're revealing. Every time you show up in your truth with integrity, discipline, and love, you unintentionally broadcast everything they aren't willing to confront in themselves. That's the silent earthquake you bring into every room, and trust me, it rattles the insecure. See, when you're consistent with your goals, when you wake up early and grind, when you protect your peace and refuse to gossip, you're not just doing you. You're exposing the laziness of those who binge distractions. You're showing what commitment looks like to those still stuck in cycles of procrastination. Your kindness, your patience, and your refusal to clap back, all of that puts a spotlight on their bitterness, their anger, and their need for drama. You don't need to say a word, your life already screams truth, and that's precisely what makes people uncomfortable. Let's make it real. The human psyche has a hard time facing cognitive dissonance. That's the psychological discomfort people feel when their actions and beliefs don't align. For example, someone who believes they're a good person might feel unsettled seeing you forgive easily when they're still plotting revenge. Or someone who claims they're focused may get triggered watching you execute discipline daily. Why? Because now there's proof that they could do better, but they choose not to. And that proof is walking, breathing you. This is why the energy around you shifts. People go cold, throw shade, or start gossiping for no real reason. It's not because you wronged them. It's because you're shining light in places they're still keeping dark. You're not judgmental. You're just real. But realness is threatening when most people live behind masks. It's easier to dislike you than to change themselves. It's more convenient to label you too much than to admit they've settled for less. You, chosen one, are a mirror, and mirrors make people flinch when they're not ready for reflection. Understand this, your presence will never sit quietly in someone else's comfort zone. It was never supposed to. As a chosen one, you carry a spiritual assignment that includes shaking the room without raising your voice. Your consistency rebukes their excuses. Your peace disturbs their chaos. Your glow challenges their shadows. And that's why sometimes people treat you like the villain in a story you didn't even write. But don't shrink, don't dull your shine just to make others feel safe in their stagnation. And here's a little spiritual science for you. Mirrors reflect, yes, but they also reveal. In ancient traditions, mirrors symbolize self-awareness, spiritual awakening, and divine truth. So it makes perfect sense that you, as a chosen one, function as a sacred reflector. Wherever you go, you wake people up, not by force, but by frequency. Your frequency is high, refined, and aligned. And low vibrational people feel that. They either rise to meet it or lash out against it. So next time someone distances themselves, throws shade, or makes you feel like you're the issue, remember, they're not reacting to you. They're reacting to the version of themselves they see when they're around you, and that's a powerful place to be. Not everyone can handle standing in truth. But you were built for it. You were chosen because you are the truth. So don't stop. Don't tone it down. You're not the storm. You're the clearing after it. You're not chaos. You're the contrast. And while they may not understand you now, deep down they know this. You are the evidence that it's possible to live free, focused, and fulfilled. And that is what shakes them the most. Point 7. You know who you are, and that's the ultimate threat. In a world obsessed with trends, where people shapeshift just to fit in, where the loudest voice often gets the spotlight, even if it echoes emptiness, you, chosen one, found something unshakable. You didn't chase the world's version of success, beauty, or power. You rooted your identity in something eternal. You found your identity in God, and that right there is what sets you apart. That's why they don't understand you. That's why they whisper, stare, and sometimes even imitate, because they're trying to decipher the code to your clarity. See, most people are walking mirrors. They reflect whoever stands in front of them. They borrow personalities from celebrities, opinions from social media, confidence from the number of likes, and purpose from the approval of others. But you broke that cycle. You don't bend to trends. You bend to truth. You don't perform for applause. You walk in alignment. And because of that, your energy hits different. You don't even have to speak. Your presence alone shifts atmospheres. That glow on you, that peace they can't define, that's not ego, that's anointing. What rattles people most is that you don't look for external validation. Your confidence doesn't come from being liked or noticed. It's built on the quiet knowing that the one who formed galaxies walks beside you. That kind of confidence is rare, and rare makes people uncomfortable, especially those who've built their lives on surface-level things. Your spiritual depth exposes their shallowness. Your calm unsettles their chaos. Your joy, not built on circumstances, challenges their need for constant stimulation. It's no surprise they keep trying to figure you out. They study your steps, they analyze your silence, and they mimic your moves. But what they don't realize is that this isn't something you perform, it's who you are. The kind of confidence you carry isn't learned through motivational quotes or fancy workshops. It's born in the fire, in the wilderness, in the late-night prayers, the spiritual battles no one saw, and the tears you turned into testimonies. Your walk with God gave you an inner GPS. That's why you move with purpose while they still search for direction. The world calls it mystery. They say, there's just something about you, and they're right, there is something about you. But it's not something, they're sensing someone. The spirit that lives in you, the quiet strength of divine identity. That's why you don't chase clout. That's why you're unbothered by fake love or missed calls. You don't serve the crowd, you serve the kingdom. Chosen one, let them wonder, let them speculate. You don't owe explanations for the peace you paid for with surrender. You're not arrogant, you're anchored. You're not intimidating. They're just not used to someone who knows who they are without needing others to confirm it. And no matter how loud the world gets, remember this, you're not lost in the noise. You were called to stand apart. You're not here to fit in, you're here to wake people up. So walk boldly, even when misunderstood. Shine freely, even when it stings their eyes. Because when your identity is built on God, no lie can shake it, no gossip can sink it, and no darkness can dim it. Chosen one, you are not ordinary. You are a rare blueprint crafted by the divine. Your presence carries a frequency that resonates beyond the physical. You were created with intention, downloaded with spiritual wisdom, and certified by heaven for a purpose far greater than the world understands. That's why people stop and stare without knowing why. That's why you draw attention without even trying. There's an invisible weight to your aura, a spiritual authority that can't be faked, mimicked, or mass-produced. People may try to imitate your energy, your style, your essence, but what's written in your spirit was never meant to be cloned. Science tells us that no two fingerprints are alike, and spiritually the same is true for your calling. You were born with gifts that are coded in your very DNA, both physically and metaphysically. When you walk into a room, you don't just exist. You shift atmospheres. Your energy raises the vibration. Your mere presence disrupts darkness and brings light, even if you don't say a word. That's the power of a chosen one, and that's why many feel both drawn to you and confused by you. You challenge their comfort. You awaken something within them. You remind them of their own unrealized potential. So keep rising, keep glowing, keep walking in your divine assignment, because your path is not about being understood. It's about being obedient to the one who sent you. Even Jesus said in John 15:19, "If you were of the world would love you as its own. But because you are not of the world hates you. You were set apart on purpose. Your trials, your isolation, your silent battles, they weren't random, they were training, and now you wear that divine armor with elegance and strength. Stay strong, stay set apart, and most importantly, stay awake. This world is loud with distraction, but your peace is your power. Move in silence, let your growth speak, let your spirit whisper what words never could. Let them wonder, analyze, gossip, and speculate. They still won't figure you out. Why? Because you weren't written for public comprehension. You were written by the hand of God for impact, not popularity. So protect your peace, elevate in silence, and let your presence continue to be the mystery that wakes the world up.